If I don't get it now in the tablet, I think I'm doomed and I'll have to go insane. I want to requiem for my disease.
It's Weird Medicine, the first and still only uncensored medical show in the history of broadcast radio, and the longest-running show on this channel. I'm Dr. Steve with my little pal, Dr. Scott, the traditional Chinese medicine provider who gives me street cred with the whack alternative medicine assholes. Hello, Dr. Scott.
Hey, Dr. Steve.
This is a show for people who had never listened to a medical show on the radio. If you got a question you're embarrassed to take to your regular medical provider, or if you can't find an answer anywhere else, give us a call at 347-766-4323. That's 347-POOHEAD. Visit our website at drsteve.com for podcasts, medical news, and stuff you can buy. I can't mention contractually. Most importantly, we are not your medical providers. Take everything you hear with a grain of salt. Don't act on anything you hear on this show without talking over with your doctor, nurse practitioner, physician assistant, pharmacist, chiropractor, acupuncturist, yoga master, physical therapist, or whatever. All right, very good, Dr. Scott. Check out Dr. Scott's website at simplyherbals.net. That's simplyherbals.net. And, yeah, what else? That it? Okay, very good. Yeah, check out Dr. Scott's website, simplyherbals.net. He has the best CBD nasal spray on the market.
Yes.
Actually, someone called in
and
said that they found another CBD nasal spray. And they bought it, and it sucked compared to yours. So there you go.
Doesn't surprise me, yes.
You got to win on that one.
Myself a bell.
All right.
All right. Dr. Scott gets nothing for being on the show other than plugs for simplyherbals.net. So
and a good time.
It's just a plug. It's not an ad. So a couple of things. Last time did I talk about my health bullshit?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay.
A little bit, yep.
So I got I went on clean living, not drinking. No, I wasn't drinking.
You weren't drinking much anyway.
No. You know, it's like I'm not sober because I was never not sober. And I know every alcoholic says, well, I'm not an alcoholic, but I either drink or I don't. Mm-hmm. Now, I have been known in the past to do a little binge drinking. It's usually the first day I'm
on vacation.
I'm on vacation.
Right.
So like people, was it DabbleCon or what was it when the Isotopes played? We were up in Rochester. I think it was the Creep Off Roast.
Okay.
I was the guy at the beer place.
Oh, no.
They played an outdoor concert at this beer garden, and I was the guy standing in front of, the stage screaming, MF at the top of my lungs. And that was the first time I ever met our buddy Sean, who has been here in the studio. So
yes.
I'm sure he was very impressed with meeting me. But anyway, yes, despite all of that, I really don't drink that much. And so I just said it's not doing me any good, so I'm just not drinking right now. And, I've gone years before without drinking. And so that actually, I don't know if that's what it was, but my liver enzymes came down, so that's good. So,
yay.
Okay. All right. So I went off my losartan, and kids don't do this at home. I did this in concert with my primary care provider, and I went off my losartan, which is an angiotensin receptor blocker, and for blood pressure. And lo and behold, my creatinine went back to normal, so I'm no longer in renal failure.
That's great news.
Can you shut
all
up?
All right. I hit the wrong button.
You're 2 for 2.
Now, let's see what else was messed up. So liver, and then my blood glucose. Well, I didn't do it fasting. I ate an apple before, so it was slightly elevated, but I'm not too worried about it. So everything actually was back to normal except my creatine phosphokinase, CPK, which is an indicator of muscle damage. So the reason that these things work is that muscles have this enzyme in them, creatine phosphokinase. And what it does is it moves phosphorus on a creatine molecule, hence the name, phosphokinase, kinase meaning moving. And so it moves phosphorus around or does some bullshit. I don't know what the hell it does, but it is intrinsic in muscles,
and it's very necessary,
heart and skeletal muscle. Yeah. And when the muscle tissue dies, it will release all of its enzymes but you can detect the ones that are specific to that. So you'll have an increase in CPK. You'll have an increase in other stuff too that they release, like potassium and maybe a little hydrogen, some DNA sort of byproducts and stuff like that. But we can detect the CPK, and so we're detecting that. And it's still going up. Now, I fell 6 weeks ago. I'm still hurting in exactly the same place that I landed on. So I've got a guy looking into an indolent rhabdomyolysis. So what that is indolent, just meaning it's smoldering. But and I asked him, he's a physical medicine rehab specialist, which sounds like he runs a nursing home, but that's not right. That is an actual medical subspecialty, is physical medicine rehab. They're also called physiatrists, right? Yep. They need an ology name, and people would not get so freaked out. You send somebody, well, I'm going to send you to a physical medicine rehab specialist. I ain't going to no nursing home.
That's right.
So anyway, so I emailed him and just said, have you ever heard of this, where someone's injured and then 6 weeks later their CPK is elevated because it's like a delayed sort of destruction of the tissue or whatever? And he said, yes, I'll get back to you later. And I haven't heard from him since. But that's the only thing. So I can live with that. I think we can. That's probably something
going to correct itself.
So
you don't think it's a side effect from the statins?
Well, I haven't been on the statin in 2 weeks now.
Yeah, but I would say that may not be enough time for them to stop.
Oh, maybe.
And that would be my only thing too.
But why is it going up now? That's the thing. But maybe
creeping up,
maybe.
Yeah, that's interesting, isn't it? Because typically you'll see that after a pretty severe injury, car wrecks, and
correct
people falling off of houses.
But you see it going up to like 4,000 or 40,000. Mine's like 280, 290, 330.
Gotcha.
But it's going up.
Right.
But it's just indolent, it's just smoldering. So it's just weird. And I can't sleep at night because I've got this pain wakes me up, but it's in my muscles, but it's not in an anatomic place that I'm used to having, detecting pain in people.
Right.
I mean, I do shoulder injections every day in my practice, and this is not associated with any specific anatomic structure that I'm aware of.
And that's a good point, real quick, to talk about. Anytime anyone comes into us with any kind of pain, we like for people to tell us what we want to hear. In other words, they tell us something, we poke on it, and they're like, ouch, that hurts right there. We're like, good, that's a bursa.
Correct.
Like maybe a hip bursitis, or like you're talking about, maybe a shoulder specifically. You can have a shoulder
rotator cuff,
or long head of your biceps tendonitis or whatever. But when somebody tells us something that's not specific and it's kind of global, and diffuse and spread out, you start thinking, well, that's a little bit different. And then you do start thinking muscle injury, muscle tissue, waste product, and kind of systemic inflammatory stuff.
Well, I'm going to blame COVID.
Yeah.
I'll blame the vaccine, and sorry, YouTube. The vaccine is obviously effective.
It could be any kind of vaccine,
and, illness, but. But I'm blaming something for this. Something ain't right.
Falling down and going boom. Let's just stick with falling down and going boom.
Usually that will cause a spike in CPK that goes up quickly and then comes down rather quickly. That's been I think it was 6 weeks ago, right?
It's been a long time,
It's been a while. But anyway.
Interesting.
Right. But now I'm going to get off all my supplements too. Maybe it's one of the supplements.
It could be.
Phosphatidylserine. Who the hell knows?
Could be.
So I'm getting off everything. I'm going to
taurine and all the good stuff.
Clean living. The taurine's a hard one. I like drinking my energy drink in the morning.
Yeah.
But, I guess I'm going to have to forego it. Surely to God, I can drink tea. I mean, I can't take Tylenol.
Nope.
Because of my liver enzymes were elevated. I can't take non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs because my kidneys were effed up for a while. So, what am I supposed to take? I'm taking palmitoyl ethanolamide. Well, now I got to look that up and see if that can cause this.
Hey, let me ask you real quick though, because what you're telling me.
By the way,
really
palmitoyl ethanolamide, non-narcotic, non-steroidal, with decent data for pain of both acute and chronic. Right. So I'm doing a lot of research on it right now in the medical literature because I think we're going to start, prescribing it to some of our patients.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Palmitoyl ethanolamide. It's also just called PEA.
PEA, gotcha.
Yeah. But anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to ask real quick, because I'm really impressed by your lab's correcting so quickly.
Yep.
Yeah, because
I'm not fucking around.
Well, that's what I was going to say. But that's really amazing. Because when did you have your the initial labs that got you kind of concerned?
Well, it was 10 days ago.
See, that's what I was going to say. I mean, you've done extremely well just in a week's time.
Well, hydrating, getting off the medicines that were killing me.
Yep.
And
lots of good loving.
No.
Oh, you mean okay? So we'll stick with we'll stick with the hydration and the exercise.
Just ruined my day.
Anyway. We'll stick with the hydration.
Okay. But I did my third thing for Normal World. Check that out.
Okay.
I'll let you all know when they are, and if you're a member of our Patreon, I will post the links directly there as soon as they come out with the timestamp already all built in. All you have to do is look at it. But the first one is already on our Patreon. That was The Worst Way to Die, which, spoiler alert, is Fournier gangrene. The second one was on a lady that had one nostril bigger than the other, and I said it was either choanal atresia or just a deviated septum. And then the third one is on vapor lock, a.k.a. penis captivus. So that should be out soon. But it's been fun sort of getting to do my TV degree again. Because, my original degree was in television directing. Mm-hmm. But digital video is kind of blowing my mind because there's so many parameters. How the color depth, how many, I have to shoot in this thing called 4:2:2 format. And to me, it looks like shit. I would never publish it in that form. It just looks all gray and crummy, but they say that's what they want, and then they can take it and manipulate it with their software and it's a professional television studio.
Sure.
And they do something to it to make it right, and it's got enough bits of information there that they can tweak it.
Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting.
Yeah, that's really neat.
Back then we just turned the damn camera on.
Yep. Let her all make sure there's some light.
Yeah, get the aperture good, get the light right.
Yep, make sure the light's good.
And we had some fixed aperture cameras back then when I was doing this, and when I was actually in school, and you had to turn your lights up and down to get what you wanted. You couldn't adjust the aperture of the camera.
How wild is that?
Yeah, they're crazy. Anyway, lots of things have changed. All right. Well, you want to just answer some questions?
Yeah, we'll do some questions.
All right, let's do that.
Number one thing, don't take advice from some asshole on the radio.
All right. What do we want to do here? Okay, we've got this one. Let me see. Okay, let's try this. I don't know what these are.
Hi, Dr. Steve.
Hello.
I currently, I was in the hospital with acute kidney.
Acute kidney injury. And what that means, they would detect that by doing some blood work. And normally what you're looking at is a molecule called creatinine. And creatinine is very efficiently filtered out by the kidneys. So when the kidneys are injured and they're not filtering that well, they might still make urine. You might never notice it. But the creatinine will start to rise because it's no longer filtering efficiently. So that's
right. And they sent me home with sodium bicarbonate, which is just baking powder.
Right. It's baking soda. That's right. Not baking powder.
No.
Baking powder actually is a leavening agent. Baking soda is sodium bicarbonate, and it's a strong base, and what they're trying to do is alkalize your urine. But go ahead.
And baking soda, or Alka-Seltzer, and also Veltassa. Can you tell me how those two things are going to help me? I saw Veltassa said that it binds potassium in your gut.
Right. Okay.
I mean, binding the potassium, how is it going to help? And also, I can't take it within 3 hours of pills. So I have to take it, my morning medication, wait 3 hours, take the Veltassa, and wait another 3 hours before I can take my afternoon pills.
Yeah.
Anyway, and now it says CKD.
Right.
If you know what that means.
I do.
Can you tell me, please?
Yes.
'Cause I don't know. All right, thanks, bye.
Now, okay, first off, he was admitted with acute kidney injury, diagnosed with CKD, which is chronic kidney disease, and just, hey, here, take these pills.
Yep. See you next time.
Yeah.
Good luck, buddy.
How about you fuck right off? You have got to do it. Now, I don't know the situation. it may absolutely be that they told him all this stuff, but the whole kidney failure was just banging around in his head.
Yeah,
and he
might have
couldn't
felt
hear
really,
anything else.
Yeah, he might have felt really ill.
Yeah, or
But-
just stressed out by that.
Or they just gave him a shit and said, "Good luck, buddy."
Or that, and that I see too much of that.
Yeah, I do too.
So what? I'm not going to go too far into what Veltassa is, but when you have kidney failure, you can end up with a high potassium.
Okay.
And when you end up with a high potassium, that can affect your heart in a very negative way.
Mm-hmm.
And if you look at the EKG for the medical students and residents out there, you'll see a high peaked T wave on the EKG. They'll know what that is.
Mm-hmm.
But the way I would think about that is that you are storing loads of potassium under that T wave.
Okay.
And that's what would make it. That's how you would remember.
That's a good
it.
visual, yeah.
You just have to
That's a
have
good
it.
visual, yeah.
But anyway, Veltassa is this stuff called patiromer, and it binds potassium in the gut.
Okay.
If it binds it in the gut, then you can't absorb
can't
it into
absorb
the
it.
blood.
Oh.
And if you can't absorb it into the blood, then you're just going to shit it out, and it will not contribute to your hyperkalemia or high potassium in your bloodstream. And so anyway, it's chronic kidney disease is basically the number one reason that they do that. There are some other medications that can cause high potassium, and one of those is a drug that I just got off of, which was losartan, or ACE inhibitors, like captopril or lisinopril. They can increase potassium as well. And sometimes when you're getting good results from the blood pressure and their kidney function is otherwise, okay, but they've got sort of this exaggerated high potassium effect, then you can throw this kind of stuff at them.
Gotcha.
And what's nice about it is this stuff is not absorbed by your body to a significant degree, and it just absorbs the stuff, and then you just shit it out. Now, the reason that he can't take his other medication while this stuff is in his stomach is because it will also absorb some of those, particularly those that are potassium salts,
Gotcha.
right?
Yep.
So, it'll reduce their availability because it's binding that too.
Right.
So that's why you're going to have to.
And low part lowers the availability of this thing too. You would think
Of what thing?
the potassium medicine.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Okay, I'm sorry.
He can't. He was saying one of the things he was complaining about was
Can't take them with food.
can't take this with his other medicine
Yep. Then we had a question
because it may absorb some of those other medicines and
Right.
prevent him from absorbing the good stuff.
Gotcha,
So he's got to wait till the patiromer is out of his stomach.
we had a call last week about this. Why is it you can't take certain medicines with?
Well,
the
there's a
gut?
good example.
There you go.
Perfect.
Perfect.
Dr. Scott. All
Give
right.
thyself a bell.
There you go. Perfect.
Get your hand off my penis!
Dr. Scott. All right.
I love it.
I do love that drop. It's the greatest thing.
Oh my God.
If y'all don't know where that comes from, we talked about it a few shows back. Just go to YouTube and Google "get your hands off my penis." I think it will come up.
It should.
If it doesn't, email me. I'll send you a link. It's one of the greatest. If I was ever going to be arrested, that's how I want to be. Oh, you know your judo well, sir. All right. Sorry. Let's try this one.
Hey, Dr. Steve. Got a question for you for the podcast. I have a testosterone question. Currently taking the androgel, and just wondering if it would be okay to take a testosterone booster pill like you would find at a health food store. If that would help to get the old numbers up. My numbers are running really low, like pretty much on zero. So got high blood pressure. I use pills for that, and that's about it. Let me know what you think.
I wonder why his numbers are zero. I see people with low testosterone all the time. It's very rarely zero unless, well, you know what I'm going to say. Unless they were juicing before.
Yeah, and they literally they juice so much that their body is making zero.
Well, their testicles just shut down. I've seen this. Now, I'm not accusing him of anything.
But this
I'm just saying
it could be the
I've seen this before.
Yep.
So I just wonder if that was why.
Yep.
But if you're juicing, and listen, it doesn't doom you to it, but I'm just saying, the people I have seen with zero testosterone. I mean, literally, you do a blood test, it comes back zero. Were people who were juicing. And what happens is your testicles are, they respond to a signal from the pituitary gland that says your testosterone's a little low, make some more.
Yep.
And then, so it secretes follicle-stimulating hormone and luteinizing hormone, and the testicles go, okay, well, let's make a little bit more. And then when it gets up to a certain level, then the pituitary stops sending that signal as heavy, so it comes back down. And it's always going between two levels, sort of undulating. The body does this all the time with these feedback loops. And it's a way to just keep these hormones at a certain level in the body. Now, when you start juicing, for example, or if you've taken an overdose of testosterone, when you already are making testosterone, the pituitary goes, whoa, there's too much in here, and it stops producing follicle-stimulating hormone and luteinizing hormone. And then the other thing that happens is the testicles go, well, there's plenty of testosterone around here.
We can take a nap.
Or just take a break. Why are we working so hard?
Yep.
And when you stop taking the testosterone every once in a while, your body just won't start making it again. So I don't see the point in this person taking a testosterone booster if his testicles are already not making testosterone. There are other tissues in the body that can participate in that, but no point in doing it. His testicles have stopped functioning.
Yeah.
They are deceased. They are no more.
Goodbye.
Right?
Yep.
So what he needs to do is take his testosterone supplement and bring it back to normal and keep it there. Now, normal, I don't know how old he was. He sounded pretty young.
He sounds young, yeah.
Can be higher than what some primary care people are willing to treat.
Right.
The urologists say primary care undertreats us. They'll treat people up to about a level of 300 when it should be 800.
Yeah.
So if you're having issues that way, where you're being maintained in the low normal,
and you don't feel well,
and you don't and you don't have any other risk factors, you might want to see a men's health person that's a little bit more into getting the doses right.
Maybe a little more aggressive. And I may make a suggestion too.
Yeah, of course.
In my experience, personal experience, and I have heard others say the same thing. The androgel was not as effective as a shot. As an intramuscular shot.
I keep hearing this, and I tried the shots, and I didn't find that to be the case.
I'm just saying that certain people respond.
No, you're right.
And I tried the androgel for and I think we've talked about it before. My testosterone was 45.
Wow.
Yeah, which talking
That's
about
really
getting
low.
close to zero. That's and I never took any kind of anabolic steroids. I never
Okay.
did any kind of juicing. But for some odd reason, I just had a really profoundly low natural testosterone level. And
well, you were wearing that damn cup, and
yeah, that's right. It made my and plus, I think my ex-wife probably made my nuts
she chopped your
shrink.
balls off.
Yeah, they were deceased too. And of course, you know her, so that makes sense to you.
Yeah, no.
But anyway, so I tried the gel.
Man, you are one pathetic loser.
I tried the gel.
Yes.
I tried the gel for a little while, and I just got nothing from it. Nothing. My levels never changed, and I never felt any better. My sleep was still awful, and I still couldn't make any. I had no strength.
Yeah,
muscular strength. So my primary doc, who he and I talked about, and heck, let's just try the shots. So now I do a shot every other week.
Cheaper too.
Yeah, heck yeah. It's a lot cheaper, and and honestly, it's a little more convenient.
We had that men's health guy on here a long time ago that was advocating to have a cyclic, testosterone. Because the thing is, when you give yourself a shot, you get a peak, and then you get a trough, and it's like a sine wave. And then you give yourself a shot again, you get a peak and a trough and a peak and a trough. And my argument with him is that's not really physiologic. Our testosterone levels are pretty constant.
Right.
But he said, no, it's more physiologic. I didn't argue with him, but I didn't understand that. So I know it undulates, but it undulates when you do the androgel too. You get a big dose in the morning when you put it on. And then about 4 hours later, it's all absorbed and it goes back down again. So
Yeah, I don't know. I kind of lean with him because to me, I feel a lot more normal with that spike. I almost liken it to a female menstrual cycle. Where you feel pretty good for a week or two, and then you don't feel so good for a week or two, and I think that's kind of maybe how
men don't.
But we have the
cyclical.
But we have a cycle kind of like that. The benefit to the females is that when they actually have the physical bleeding, they know when they're going through that cycle.
That ketchup on my French fries, if you know what I mean.
And we don't know when we're going through it, so we have those weird, emotional, mental cycles as well. So that's. But
I'm having my period.
I'm having my period. Damn it! You just can't see it.
Yeah.
But the other half of his question was about like an over the counter testosterone supplement, adding that to the androgel, which is
there's no point in that if his testicle. The supplements are intended to cause your testicles to
right.
Now, if he wants fertility, if he wants to try something, he could go to a fertility specialist, and they could put him on clomiphene citrate. Now, clomiphene citrate attempts to stimulate the testicles to make testosterone again. So you're making your own testosterone. Your testicles don't shrink, and you continue to produce sperm. Whereas if you use testosterone replacement, your testicles will shrink because they get lazy.
Sure.
And they'll atrophy, and you'll stop producing sperm too.
Don't really need them anymore.
Well,
some of us don't.
But some people may.
Yes, no, I was going to say younger people. A lot of times the clomiphene is more appropriate.
Yeah,
but I just thought one of the time that you'll see literally a testosterone of zero. Is prostate cancers.
Well, yeah, of course.
Yeah. Well, I mean, but not everybody knows that.
Oh, okay.
But because people they'll give
they're giving them medicine to
make their.
It's called a chemical castration.
Right. Chemical castration. Yep.
Yeah, they give them Lupron and other things like that. So yes, that's correct.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. Well, good luck, buddy.
Yep. Let us know. All right. Let's see. You want to do a blind?
Oh, let's go.
Voicemail?
Let's do it.
Okay.
Let's give it a shot.
All right. This one says just. Okay. Okay. Here you go. Let's try this one.
Hey, Dr. Steve, I had a question. I can send it via text, too.
Okay, this is why we don't do blind.
Oh, no.
Voicemail. Okay, yes, you can send a text if you want to. Let's see here. Okay, wait, he called back, so here we go.
Hey, Dr. Steve, I was comparing Manjaro versus Trulicity.
Yeah.
I was on Trulicity, didn't have any issues, but they couldn't get it in stock. So I want to know the difference between the two ingredients of the drug.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you.
Sure. Okay, well, Manjaro is terzepatide, if I remember correctly, and Trulicity is dulaglutide. And so they're different. The dulaglutide has a single action. It mimics this hormone GLP-1. Manjaro is dual action. It mimics GLP-1 and GIP. So Manjaro has been found to be somewhat more effective in most people when it comes to weight loss.
Okay.
And that's why it is difficult to get your hands on sometimes.
Gotcha.
It's also more effective than the other one at supporting weight loss and blood sugar. But the Trulicity will lead to less feelings of nausea. So, some of these things work by causing your stomach to feel full. I know I took the Ozempic, what's that, semaglutide.
Okay.
I just tried it. I wanted to try it because so many people are talking about it. And plus I've got 20 pounds I'd like to lose. And it absolutely made me feel like I had a stomach bug.
Oh, no.
So I lost 8 pounds.
Crampy kind of?
No, not crampy.
Just nauseated? Okay, gotcha.
Stomach felt full when you ate. You had to pay attention to feeling full. Don't eat past that because it make you sick.
Ugh.
And I lost 8 pounds right off the bat. And then I got off of it. I didn't go back because I just wanted to try it. Gained it right back.
Gotcha.
Not thinking I was eating any more than I was. I eat pretty good. The other day I had just a Caesar salad and some sweet potato fries for lunch, and then I had salmon for dinner, and I still gained weight. So, So anyway,
so
there you go. So it's that's kind of how they seem to work. And I one of my female partners lost 40 pounds on the semaglutide, but she just feels sick all the time. But she looks amazing. Mm-hmm. She looks unbelievably great. Mm-hmm. So now Tacey wants to lose weight for Liam's wedding.
Okay.
And she wants to be back to her ideal body weight, which when she's at her ideal body weight, she's looking pretty good. But it's like, boy, you have no interest in losing it for your husband or to live longer.
It's to live.
You just don't want people at the wedding going, oh, look at her,
Yep. I didn't know.
Was that Liam's mom?
Have they picked a date?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, they have?
Yeah. It's in August of 2025.
Gotcha.
So, yes, the little boy that did the Ashley Madison,
the greatest
commercial
Ashley Madison
is getting
commercial
married.
ever. That's right.
Okay.
That is a good one.
So anyway, you can lose weight on both of them.
Right on.
All right. Let's see here. Okay. Let's see. Well, dang it.
Hello, Dr. Steve. I'm a huge fan.
That's another blind phone call.
I was just wondering if you can maybe elaborate. I have a friend here who suffers from Huntington's chorea disease. And from my understanding, he's losing control of his motor function.
Right.
And I was just wondering if maybe you can help me distinguish the difference between Huntington's disease and Parkinson's, because I know that they're similar where they start to lose control of their motor functions.
Yeah.
And as I understand it, Huntington's is a genetic disease with no cure, only treatment. I appreciate your time. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Love you. Love your show.
Hey,
goodbye.
Love you too. Yeah, both of these are motion type disorders. Huntington's disease, what Woody Guthrie had.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And we don't screen. Okay, I got in trouble saying that we don't screen for this on this show. What I meant by that is we don't screen the general public for it.
Right.
We do screen the offspring
if there's family members
of someone that has Huntington's to see if they are at risk, or if they are at risk of passing it on to someone else, or if they are at risk of getting it themselves, because it is genetic and we can detect it. Huntington's disease attacks nerve cells in parts of the brain, and these nerve cells gradually break down, but these attacks attack cells that control voluntary movement. Okay, so a lot of people don't know this, but your brain has these cycles just like the hormones do, right? And there's these circuits, and they're flying, and they're flying, and they're flying. It's like having a flywheel. This just came to me.
Okay.
So if you've got a flywheel and it's spinning, right, you can apply pressure to it and extract work from it, right? So you can put another wheel on it and it would spin the other way. Or there's things that you can do, but this flywheel is always spinning. The brain has circuits like that. They're always spinning, but then it can apply counter tension to those circuits so that you're not, spinning your arms around all the time. But when you need to move your arm in that sort of motion, it disinhibits that circuit so that you can move your arm. And I don't know why it's that way. It seems like a crazy way to design the damn thing. You would think that you would want it to be quiet, and then when you want to move, then it would turn on.
Turn on, right.
That's how we design things.
Yep.
But the brain isn't designed that way. The motion is there, and then you disinhibit the inhibitory circuit, which is a double negative, to make the motion actually happen.
Right.
Well, in Huntington's disease, you are killing the cells that disinhibit those movements. And so now you get this sort of cyclic dance-like movement, and they cannot stop it. And they may move their fingers, their feet, their face, their torso. I've seen, you can just Google choreiform movement, but it tends to be cyclic and sort of undulating, back and forth in a circle sort of movement. They usually appear in middle-aged people. It's rare, but it can show up in kids, and it tends to get worse over time. Mild clumsiness is how it starts, and then it progresses from there. makes it more difficult to walk, and then you fall.
Yeah.
So anyway, it's and again, it's inherited, passed from parent to child through a mutation in a particular gene. And when you have Huntington's, each child has a 50% chance of inheriting a copy of chromosome 4 that carries it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's anyway, if they don't inherit the mutation, they will not develop the disease. They can't pass it on to future generations. And when it occurs without a family history, it's called sporadic. So sometimes someone just gets hit by a gamma ray and it changes chromosome 4 and it causes Huntington's. But anyway, so there you go. So that now Parkinson's disease, the the cells that die are different. Those are in the striata nigra of the brain. And what happens with those people is, as opposed to having these sort of fluid motions, they have just the opposite. They have very rigid movement, sometimes no movement at all. They can get stiff. They can get extremely stiff. They're one of the ways that we'll diagnose it is if you hold on to someone's wrist and you flex their elbow and extend it and flex it, it will ratchet. In other words, it'll kind of go dick, 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 instead of a nice smooth movement. And they have other symptoms as well. And if you get dementia with that, which you can if you have Parkinson's long enough, it's generally a thing called Lewy body dementia, which is associated with Parkinson-like symptoms. So anyway, so there's right now we don't have treatments that will reverse things like Huntington's disease. There's a drug called tetrabenazine that treats the chorea, and certain antipsychotic drugs can help control the hallucinations and the chorea as well. I'm hoping that in the future we know what cells are dying,
right? And
they, I'm trying to remember what they produce.
Maybe do
something called
Huntington.
Huntington.
Yeah.
That's what it's called. It's a protein. The gene is a protein called Huntington, obviously named after Huntington, and it causes defects in the building blocks of DNA that repeat more times than they normally do, and you just get a clogged up cell that's not working. And so we know the target. Right. We know how it's encoding this person incorrectly. So we should be able to, in theory, be able to stop this once you see it happening. So there's a couple of ways in the future that we could stop this. One would be just genetic engineering.
Yep. The CRISPR stuff.
They're starting to do it with sickle cell now. So, going in and actually changing the person's genetics, it's a little bit harder to do in the brain. To go in there because those cells have already been formed when you were an embryo and they don't change. So you would have to have something like a viral vector, the virus that would go in and inject an improved version of the gene into those particular cells. But then do we want a virus just floating around in our brain infecting cells and stuff? So it's going to be a while before we have a genetic fix for this. But there may be a medication fix for sure that just says stop doing that. So hopefully that's
and one thing they're doing with Parkinson's, and I don't know if they've looked into this with the Huntington's, but they're doing the deep brain stimulators and they're improving with those all the time too.
Right. Well, they've been doing that for a long time. I mean, I remember when I was a kid seeing them do a deep brain stimulator on television. Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, they showed the actual thing. I was like 8 or 9, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, those. But they're I think with the onset of all the computers and the supercomputers and certainly AI, they're going to do a better job of programming those deep brain stimulators, which I do think will help. Yeah, AI. It may not fix it, but what it does, it helps with the uncontrolled movements.
Yeah, deep brain stimulation first developed in 1952.
Oh my gosh!
So I was starting to think I was crazy remembering this, but I do remember when they showed it on TV.
23 or 24.
Fuck off.
Well, that's because you're an idiot.
That wasn't very nice, was it?
No, it wasn't very nice. All right. Yes, I am old. I get it. I'm going to die.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Anyway. Yep. All right. I hope that helps.
Yeah, good luck, dude.
All right. Okay, this is the guy with the acute kidney injury called back. Let's see.
Oh, he's got one from Kim in the Fluid family. If we need
Let me do this one
Yeah.
and then remember that one because this one just came in. So.
Dr. Steve, my name is Greg, upstate New York.
Yeah.
About 315 pounds, 52 years old, in good shape. Tried many, many different diets. Have not succeeded. Are these weight loss injections worth the try, or is there any other solution for me?
Well, there's all kinds of solutions. The question is, why have those other things not worked? And they don't work for everybody. One of the things that they did, and we've talked about this study in the past, that really, really big people, Brooklyn blowhard size folks and others like that. And he, by the way, Blowhard's doing very well, lost a shitload of weight.
Great.
But it took a lot of effort to do, and it's difficult. But you just say, well, just eat less. Well, this is what they did. They did, and overweight people, including me, apparently, will say, well, I'm not eating that much. I mean, my mother-in-law will say, well, I only eat one meal a day. And she's sincere about it. And then you watch her, and it's true. The meal starts at 7 in the morning, and it goes until 11 o'clock at night. She's never not eating.
Yeah.
And if you asked her, now admittedly, she's dumb, but you don't have to be dumb to have this. But if you asked her how much that she ate, to estimate how much she ate, she would grossly underestimate it. So what the question was, is this something built in, or are they just bullshitting themselves? So what happened was they did this study using a thing called doubly labeled water. And what doubly labeled water is really cool. You give it to someone, and when they piss it out, you can figure out how many calories they took in. There's a method that they use.
Oh, wow.
And they can determine how many calories you actually took in a day.
Okay.
And then they would give these people a diary and say, write down every single thing that goes in your mouth, in your big fat craw.
Yep.
Shoveling in their food. Shoveling down your gullet. Now, they give people these diaries, and they would write down everything that they were eating. And when they compared the two, they could calculate how many calories that they documented versus how many calories they actually took in. It was off by 300%.
Yeah.
If they estimated 1,000 calories, they were taking in 3,000. If they estimated 2,500, they were taking in 7,500 calories.
That's insane.
And what they concluded was that there's a mechanism in those people's brain that makes it impossible for them to accurately gauge how much they're taking in. And that's the problem. So it really is something that can't necessarily easily be fixed, because that's not easy to fix.
No.
So, if the semaglutide or those types of medication, if you've really given everything else a proper try, and you've done exercise and you've changed your lifestyle and you're not drinking, because that's a lot of empty calories, and you've done all these things, and I think it's okay to talk to your healthcare provider and say, could I try one of these things? And if they say, get out of here, I don't do that crazy stuff, you could at that point go to a weight loss clinic and just make sure it's a legit one that sends a note to your primary care. And it needs to be counseled with or coupled with nutritional counseling, as well as sometimes psychological counseling.
Yes. Agreed.
That helps. It helps. And I'm not saying you're crazy, but it is difficult, and you can feel bad about yourself when you don't succeed right off the bat. But if having a medication that makes food, gives you basically gastroparesis, in other words, slows down the transit of food from your stomach, that makes you feel full earlier and longer, that causes you to eat less because you're kind of sick to your stomach, if that would help you, then yes. But just be aware, and I wish Tacey were here. This is one of the few times I wish Tacey were here. Just kidding, Tacey. She'll hear this and get, I'll hear about it.
No,
but,
she won't.
No, she won't listen. But she will tell you that she's lost tons of weight on these things in the past and then gains it all back plus 10. And so what's the point? Well, then are you supposed to take it forever then? I would like to not have to take something forever.
Yep.
But if you're going to really lose weight, you have to make a lifestyle change that lasts forever. Now, you could blow it out your ass every once in a while. You know, little skinny fuckers like, I don't know, well, like Diane, Lady Diagnosis. She just eats one potato chip and she's satisfied. It's like, you're a damn lunatic. How can you do that? Oh, I just eat one and I'm satisfied. A bag lasts me, several weeks and I throw it away.
Yep. See, but I'm the same way. I can eat just one bite of a cupcake, one bite.
Yeah.
And I put it up and I just walk off.
No, I eat one bite of a cupcake and then I eat 6 of them. That's the problem.
I love it.
So that's hard to get to that for some people where they can do that. I cannot do that. So that means I have to eat low or, things that don't have a lot of calories in them in the first place, which is unsatisfying, but, celery or, sugar-free Jell-O and stuff like that. And, after a while, that's just unsatisfying. And then I get out the chocolate cheesecake and put a bunch of whipped cream on it and go crazy. So I'm just, I got down from 200 down to about 160 and then climbed back up to 180. And I'm just kind of stuck there.
Yeah, right on.
Anyway, yeah. So, dude, if you can lose 30 pounds, you will improve your odds of sudden death by a significant amount. A 10% weight loss is, and that's about what these things guarantee, but you can lose more than that.
Yeah.
Now, if everything else fails, you tried that, you've literally tried everything and nothing is working for you, then bariatric surgery is an option.
Yeah, the balloon, the sleeve. I mean, there are a couple different options.
All kinds of things, but you want to talk to a bariatric surgeon, someone who does that, primarily for a living.
Yep.
And they're going to have fewer adverse events. And you want to do the least changing of your anatomy that you can do and still have a good expectation of a good result.
Especially if you can do something that's reversible.
Yeah. No, well, the gastroenterologists, you're right, have just this inflatable ball.
Yeah.
And they shove it down your throat. Yeah, you're out with an endoscope, and then they blow it up in there, and it just makes you feel full all the time.
And I know somebody that's had that. It's worked extremely well.
Really?
Extremely.
Now you can
well.
defeat it. You can drink milkshakes like an MFer.
Yep.
And you'll have diarrhea because it'll be shunted into your small intestine too fast. But I know people that they got to have it.
I agree. Yep.
And then they just, sucking down milkshakes and all kinds of, pudding and stuff and just defeating it. But that is an option.
Yep.
That's an option. There's all kinds of things. Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, we got another great question.
Yep.
You ready for one?
Yeah.
From Kim. I heard that Sudafed doesn't work. What would you take instead for a cold?
Yes, that was one of the ones that we wanted to answer. So I don't think it's Sudafed. I think what they determined didn't work was phenylpropanolamine. And that was the thing that they replaced Sudafed with in a lot of these sort of oral decongestants.
Yeah, the ones that have multiple medicines in them.
Right.
Okay.
Right. Gotcha. And they because Sudafed, now you have to sign a paper and you can make meth out of it and all kinds of stuff. Plus it causes tachycardia and it can cause high blood pressure and stuff like that. For short-term nasal congestion, I just honestly like Afrin nasal spray. It is habit forming. I am warning you now, if you use it twice a day for 5 days, then you'll be using it twice a day for the rest of your life because you get rebound nasal congestion. But if you can just use it once a day or a half dose, at bedtime when you go to bed, and then get a Navage or a neti pot for the rest of the time. That eucalyptus
or a little, Simply Herbal sinus spray.
Yes,
works
or
pretty
Simply
Urinals.
Simply Herbal's sinus spray may help. But yeah, I think for just run of the mill short term nasal congestion, you really can't beat over the counter. Oxymetazoline, 0.05%, I think, is the concentration. But anyway, okay, here's another one. Question for Dr. Steve. Just had surgery. Now can't feel the skin where the incision was made. Will that come back? You want to take that one?
I say sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't.
Well, why can't they feel the?
Well, because a lot of times when they make that big surgical incision, those nerves are damaged, sometimes beyond repair. And
they cut through peripheral nerves.
They cut through with the peripheral sensory nerves, sensory nerves, cutaneous nerves. And but what we typically see is the longer and the better the job is, that you'll get a lot of the sensation back, but it may be a different kind of sensation.
Right, and peripheral nerves can grow back, but sometimes when there's a surgical wound with a scar, they will grow back, but they'll spin around themselves and calls a neurofibrillary tangle, and or a neuroma. And neuromas sometimes can be really sensitive. I remember doing a skin surgery on somebody, and they developed a neuroma, and it was just, they would just touch it, and phew, it would send electricity up to their brain. So what I did was I numbed them up again, and I took out the neuroma, and then sewed them up again, and it didn't come back. But I'd rather be numb than have pain.
Yep.
But it can take anywhere from 12 weeks to 2 years for those peripheral nerves to grow back.
Yep.
But they may very well grow back.
And typically what you'll start seeing some pain as they start to grow back. You'll have some weird sensations.
Well, have you ever let your foot go to sleep in the movie theater, and then when it comes back, that you get that those hyperalgesias,
hyperalgesia,
where you get the pins and needles, and it's just like, oh, I touched my foot, and it just sends pain up to your brain, and then it goes away.
Yep.
It's really amazing. Human body is an amazing thing.
Yep.
When it gets screwed up, it can kiss my ass, which is right now where I am with I have a love-hate relationship with my body right now. But anyway. All right, everybody. Well, thank you very much. Thanks to everyone at SiriusXM whose steadfast support of this show has sustained us over the years. Thanks to our listeners whose voicemail and topic ideas make this job very easy. Go to youtube.com/@weirdmedicine and join the Fluid family. Until next time, check your stupid nuts for lumps. Quit smoking, get off your asses, get some exercise. We'll see you in 1 week for the next edition of Weird Medicine. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
All right, what do you want to do for the podcast? Oh, was there another question?
We had one extra one from Diesel Child.
Okay, let's do it.
Yep. And that should do it.
Yeah, okay. All right, you ready?
Yeah.
All right, Dr. Scott, before we go, I understand you've got another question from the Fluid family.
Yeah.
If you want to join the Fluid family, by the way, follow us on Twitter @WeirdMedicine, and I'll usually announce it there. But also, if you go to youtube.com/@WeirdMedicine and just subscribe, then you'll get and sign up for notifications, and it'll notify you when we go live. It's usually Saturday at 1. Today we're Wednesday at 6, so you know what the hell.
Yep.
But anyway, what's the question?
Yes, so the great Diesel Child, he says, I've got a question. Was inspired by seeing this Superchat guy that was in a wheelchair. He's a double upper leg amputee, and he was doing pull-ups, and he was just a beast.
Yeah.
So my question is, do guys that are double amputees need to modify their diets to make up for less body mass?
Oh, well, that's an interesting one. Now, weight-based medications, very often they will modify, but I'm not. How much do the legs weigh, Dr. Scott? That's something you ought to know.
I was going to say, hell,
how much?
About a third of your body weight, I would guess.
Amputated legs weigh. Well, a lot of your fat is in the gut though.
Yeah, but the largest muscles in your body really quads.
Okay, above the knee prosthetic though. No, that's the prosthetic is 8 pounds. Let's see here, advanced prosthetic. Okay. So, what is the BMI of an amputee? The true weight of amputees. What would be the weight of my missing leg or arm? Right? And there are no stupid questions. So this is a great question. So the weight of limb segments. And this is from. What is the name of this website? It's a prosthetic website for people who are amputees. This is from the Journal of Biomechanics. And it says that a man's thigh weighs 14.6 pounds. And so if you do the foot and the leg and the thigh, that would be 1.3 plus 4.3 plus 14.6. So was that 18, 19, 20 pounds?
20 pounds.
20 pounds.
That's if they weigh 200 pounds.
So, right, and so that's 2 of them would be 40 pounds. So one of the reasons that they're able to do pull-ups is because they're 40 pounds lower, but they've also jacked up their upper limbs because they do all the work now.
Yep. Yeah, one of my best friends growing up, his mama had been in a wheelchair for years, and she used to arm wrestle us when we were kids because we all thought we were big and strong, and she wore us out.
Yeah, there you go.
That was great, yeah.
So a man below the knee amputee with 3/4 of the leg amputated, what they do is they add up the weight of the foot, which is 1.37 pounds, and 3/4 of the leg. So it'd be 0.75 times 4.33, and then that would be 4.62. That's pretty interesting, isn't it?
Cool.
Yeah.
Hey, you've got one more bonus question.
Okay. So a man weighing 165 pounds will lose 7.62 pounds following a 3/4 leg below the knee amputation. Wait, are these percentages or are these pounds? No, those are weights. Okay. Yeah. So a BMI calculation for amputees would be the true body weight. Let me see. Oh, okay. So they have to calculate their true body weight. So what they do is they add back the pounds that they had.
Okay.
And then they get their BMI by calculating the true body weight divided by the height that they would have been had they not had that.
Gotcha.
And that's how they do it. And it's an estimate. Listen, BMI sucks. We all know that. But if you have a BMI that says you're super obese, you're somewhere in the right category. You weigh too much.
Mm-hmm.
And there's things that we can do to help if you will let us help you if you want help. Mm-hmm. We have a whole lot of, if InfiniFat influencers that say that, they'll if they go to a new doctor, they bring in a card, say, I don't want to talk about my weight or the consequences of my weight, and that's fine. If I have somebody come into me and says, I don't want to treat my cancer, then I'll take care of them and I'll refer them to hospice or whatever. It's a free country, but we have a whole bunch of dead fat influencers out there as well. People who died much younger than they maybe needed to. Mm-hmm. So I am concerned about that trend. But anyway, so for those of you out there, we love you. We will help you, and we will respect your boundaries if you don't want to talk about it. But I just always wonder why that is. Mm-hmm. I mean, I know they've been yelled at by doctors their whole lives saying and attribute everything to their weight. I have the same thing with people who have cancer, that the oncologists and other people will attribute everything to their cancer. When particularly fatigue, when it turns out, about 50% of them have low testosterone. If they don't have prostate cancer, we can treat that and they feel better. So I get that part of it. Not everything is attributable to your weight. Nope. But your weight is increasing your risk of all-cause mortality. That's a fact, and we can help you if you want help. Mm-hmm. Okay, but yeah, you got to do it yourself.
Yep.
In the end. All right. What was the question?
The last one looks like a Gustav.
Gustav.
It is blue in color, which means it is.
Well, that is a super chat.
Super
Thank
chat.
Thank you, Gustav. And thank you for the $1.99.
Yes.
It says, Dr. Steve, I take Flonase daily for congestion. Is that legit? Well, it's legit if you have perennial rhinitis caused by, allergens or whatever. And I take Flonase every day because if I don't, I end up sneezing and congested. And so if your congestion is caused by swelling of the turbinates, which are the sort of fluid, sensitive tissues in the nose that swell up that cause nasal congestion, and they are steroid responsive, it's probably okay to take that every day. I was never a big fan of exposing people to steroids every day, but my understanding is, and talk to your ear, nose, and throat person about it, that this stuff is not systemically absorbed enough that it's causing people problems. So what's your now the other thing is, though, try Dr. Scott's CBD nasal.
And I think Flonase is great for most people. Some people, they get kind of dry nasal passages and they get too dried out. So that'd be the only thing. Then that's when you need your Simply Herbals nasal spray.
They are worried about long-term use of Flonase. They're worried about it. I want to see the data of, where you can get side effects. Like Dr. Scott said, you can get nose sores if it dries out, yeast infections. Does it increase the risk of cataracts because you're taking a steroid? Brittle bones because you're taking a steroid. So I'll tell you what, will you put that on the list for next time? And let's take a deep dive on the data and see if there's any good data that says one thing or another, because I hear a lot of people saying, well, we're worried about the risk of these things. I want to know if there really is data that says that there are risks. I don't want to hear it may increase the risk. It either increases the risk or it doesn't. That doesn't mean that it increases, that you're saying it always, it always causes it. But does it increase the risk, or are you just worried that it might increase the risk? In that case, I call bullshit, although, there's enough reason to not take steroid every day. But it is, it's been over the counter. They don't tell people they can only buy a certain number of them. Doesn't necessarily mean anything either. But we will do a deep dive on the data. And next time we're here, which will be, it'll be 2 Wednesdays from now, right? Not next Wednesday, but the Wednesday after, we'll do one to get that Saturday show. And then we'll have to do another Saturday, but we'll be off for a little bit.
Right.
Right?
That makes
That's
sense,
right.
yeah. I think it's right, yep.
So we'll have the answer then.
Yes.
Because I think that's, you know what? This affects me, and it's all about me. So I'm going to, by God, find out. And if maybe that's causing part of my problem. I don't know. We'll see. But my understanding is from the ear, nose, and throat guys, they'll tell you, at least the ones that I've talked to, that they don't feel like it's absorbed systemically enough into your bloodstream enough to cause that kind of problem long term. But we'll see.
Yeah.
You don't agree with him. Well, because he's selling his shit.
We'll
it's
see.
not shit.
We'll
Dr.
see.
Scott's stuff is not shit. It's actually good.
We'll look it up.
All right. Well, thanks always go to Dr. Scott. And thanks to everyone who's made the show happen over the years. Listen to our SiriusXM show on the Faction Talk channel. SiriusXM channel 103, Saturdays at 7 p.m. Eastern, Sunday at 6 p.m. Eastern, on demand, and other times at Jim McClure's pleasure. Many thanks to our listeners whose voicemail and topic ideas make this job very easy. Go to our website at drsteve.com for schedules, podcasts, and other crap. Until next time, check your stupid nuts for lumps, quit smoking, get off your asses, get some exercise. We'll see you in 1 week for the next edition of Weird Medicine. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, guys.